Now, what's up with the boy Lil Skies? Haven't seen too many people talking about him. I feel like his wave isn't as strong as it once used to be. But let's not get ahead of ourselves because I do have a couple things to say about this. So yeah, let's talk about it. By the way, really quickly, thank you guys for 800,000 subscribers. Crazy. I appreciate it so much. Shout out to everyone who's constantly tuning in. Really appreciate you guys. Millie coming soon. Anyway, now for real, let's talk about it. Now, I've of course talked about Lil Skies on a few different occasions on my channel. The biggest moment was of course when he was fighting some demons back in 2018. I remember there being a period where he was really struggling mentally, posting cries for help left and right. A lot of people were of course very worried about him because he did post some extremely worrying things on social media. Obviously that was a little setback for him. He kept it pushing. He's also a father now, which has probably helped him in finding peace and happiness. That's good to see. But Lil Skies of course dropped an album in the beginning of 2019, and that album was Shelby. Shelby had one really big record, which was I. That song definitely put a little spark on his wave all over again. Before I, he's of course had other big songs like for example Lust, Nowadays featuring Landing Cube, and also Red Roses featuring Landing Cube, which was the track that boosted him to the top in 2017. I think if we take a look at it from a strictly musical standpoint, Skies is definitely talented, right? Most people agree on this, but he has a great rapping voice for starters, which is why I've personally never liked hearing him overusing autotune, because if you ask me, I just don't think he needs it all that much. I've said this before, but it seems like all of the best Lil Skies tracks are the ones where the autotune is barely audible. Music is subjective, so you might disagree with me, but then again, to play devil's advocate against myself, there's of course tracks like Magic, which is one of my favorites from him, where the autotune is implemented a little more than usual, but the result was still amazing. If you think about it, Lil Skies hasn't had that high of an output in terms of music ever since he got in the game. At this very moment, we've gotten 2 albums from him. One of them which dropped in January 2018, and the other one, Shelby, dropped a little over a year later in March 2019. People leaking his music has definitely slowed down the album dropping process, and I made a video on this a couple months back. I feel like Lil Skies' wave is a little bit in the horizon right now. I feel like his wave has become somewhat distant, especially in these past few months. Obviously, we're in a time where if you ain't constantly dropping music or you're not that visible on, for example, social media, people almost start forgetting you a little bit. When it comes to Lil Skies and social media though, he's barely on it. He's not really trying to keep up with the internet presence factor, which is actually kind of refreshing to see. He reminds me a little bit of Roddy, myself on that aspect, who operates in that manner. Obviously, Roddy really doesn't need to due to the kind of impact just his music alone is having right now. Back to Skies though, I think Lil Skies has a really good base as it is, speaking from a fan base perspective. Apart from that, he's not really all up in people's faces, is kind of obscure, but yet fans are still sticking around waiting for him to drop music. I don't think he's reached that superstar level yet though. I think he was getting there when Red Roses, Nowadays, and Lust were all getting heavy plays in that first quarter of 2018, but things clearly did slow down since more than an entire year went by until that next project came out. So there was a lot of heavy hitters in terms of competition at that time. I don't think one artist can take away anything from another man's wave, but at the end of the day, it is a competition because you're all kind of in the same lane and you're competing for people's attention. That's just what it is. Lil Skies did drop 2 really good singles in 2018. No Rest is the first single that I'm talking about, and Ops Want Me Dead is the second one. Ops Want Me Dead was amazing. Probably my favorite Skies song by far. Can't get enough of that track. He was really in his bag on that one. Recently though, as far as 2020, he's dropped a couple singles. Having My Way featuring Lil Durk was the first one. That was a great record. So far the most successful one out of the ones that I'm gonna mention next. Next up was Fidget. He also dropped Riot, did a track for the Fast and Furious movie that's coming out next year. Also dropped a collab with No Cap titled Lightbeam. The interesting thing about this song is the fact that it wasn't received all that well from what I can tell. Obviously having a song with 2 million views ain't no flop, but for Lil Skies standard, not only was the reception on the song underwhelming, but it doesn't sound like a typical Lil Skies record. I genuinely don't think I've ever heard Skies mumble, but he did it on this track, and if you ask me, the result wasn't all that that good. Something about this song just wasn't really hitting. I'm not sure if Lil Skies was trying to experiment with his delivery or try something new, but he sounded a little bit off on this one. Alabama rapper No Cap was of course featured on here. Him and Lil Skies are definitely not in the same lane. Maybe No Cap being on the song had some kind of effect on the way he wanted to present his verse. Someone like No Cap is way closer to a Lil Durk, but Durk actually brought the best out of him on Having My Way. Ain't nothing wrong with experimenting and trying different things. He actually did just that on the song More Money More Ice he dropped almost a year ago, which is dope to see. I think it's very easy to stay in one box and just capitalize off of one sound, but when you have the courage to, you know, collab with a type of artist you don't usually collab with and you try different styles, that's when good things can happen. When it comes to Lil Skies though, I really don't think he even needs to go there. The lane he's in is that melodic rapper with an extremely smooth rapping voice, which a lot of rappers aren't naturally blessed with, but he is. I'm talking that nowadays vibe. That's the kind of sound I feel like Lil Skies could have really capitalized on heavy, but it feels like he's left that behind, which is unfortunate. I think he could have and can do some serious damage with that kind of sound if he kind of just really focused on it and squeezed the hell out of it, you know? He naturally has an extremely smooth vocal tone, and that lane right there is waiting to get dominated by him. That's what I hope to hear on whatever he drops next. I think Skies has the potential to come back strong as hell. All the doors are open for him. He's a relevant name in the game. People recognize him, and all around he's just in a really good position to be at the top of the game. But yeah, just a little update on Lil Skies. I was bumping a couple of his tracks the other day when I thought about this video idea. Lil Skies in 2020. What's your thoughts on that? How do you think Lil Skies' career has progressed ever since he got in the game 3 years ago? Are you still paying attention to him and listening to his music? Definitely let me know in the comment section below and let's have a discussion about this.